Hey folks, welcome to another edition of Billy Made Storytime. I'm Mike Reynolds. I'm former webmaster and writer for Billy Made. I've been doing these Billy Made Storytimes for about 4 years, and I like them. They're a way to talk and use the written, the rumble over the written, and I'm just trying to log into my laptop below. I should do it without my laptop. I do it with my laptop, it's a little bit easier. And I have a lot to cover today. I may not cover it all today. I should. We have a lot to cover. There's been a lot of news that's gone on for everything. Okay, so according just recently, I literally just found this out. It just came out. The Centers for Disease Control, that's the United States Centers for Disease Control, not the main CDC, but the US CDC, is now saying that they want to ending the 5-day isolation period for COVID. That's after 4 years of doing that. Actually, that's not exactly true. It was 10 days, and then in 2021 they've reevaluated 5 days. Now they're evaluating it for it to be the day after you stop having a fever. But this is only it's not a official ruling, and again, it doesn't talk anything about wearing a mask or not wearing a mask, or how this affects people who have pre-existing immunocompromised status like myself, people who live in nursing home or other congregate care facilities, people who are at more risk of getting COVID or having long COVID. The CDC guidelines are all are only just beginning, but are still really kind of dangerous, and to say the least, I just don't think it gives people who have severe disabilities or people who are trying to avoid long COVID a chance to not get COVID or not be placed in a situation where somebody is going to use CDC guidelines, and then place themselves in a position where they're going to be making themselves more susceptible to getting COVID for other people. So it's not just the people who get COVID. COVID affects. COVID is a highly contagious disease that becomes more contagious as the variants change, and it's not just the people that have the disease. If you change the isolation time, you're going to possibly change the amount of because they're going to be changing the isolation time, therefore more virus will still shed when people are outside and are not staying in for 5 days. But anyway, it's only a preliminary thing. It's just the New York Times this afternoon. I just caught it right before I got online with this, so I thought I would discuss it. Additionally, well, there's a lot of additions. There's so much going on today. And there was a lot going on last week. I just couldn't get to it all because of medical stuff and health-wise and stuff like that. And this is coffee because I have dry mouth. And this is the stuff that causes my dry mouth. And of course I grabbed the wrong one. But so I wanted to do in Maine, I'm trying to prioritize how this stuff should be doing some of this stuff. CDC stuff. I'm going to talk about Brooke Ellison. Brooke Ellison is an disability rights activist and primarily a huge advocate for people with spinal cord injury. She was paralyzed from the neck down from a childhood car accident and graduated from Harvard. Became a professor and devoted disability rights advocate. She died Sunday. She was 45. She died of complication of her spinal cord injury. Her mother said she was hit by a car near her home on September 4th, 1980, when she was 11. She was in a coma for 36 hours and spent 6 weeks in the hospital, 8 months in a rehabilitation center, and was used a wheelchair with a touch tongue keypad, a respirator, and a voice-activated computer for writing. She got into Harvard and graduated magna cum laude with a bachelor's degree in cognitive neuroscience in 2000, who had a commencement address, and a master's degree in public policy from Harvard's Kennedy School of Government. Received a doctorate in sociology from Stony Brook University in 2012. Joined its faculty that year. She wrote a book that was published in 2002. She wrote that with her mother. It was in a movie that became a film that was actually directed by Christopher Reeve. Which would have been right before he died. I just realized that. Because he died in 2004 and it became a movie in 2004. She became a spokesperson for stem cell research, which is kind of cool because my mother was actually allowed to. My mom had a stem cell transplant about 20 years ago this year, and saved her life. Gave her at least a good 5 or 6 years that she would never have had otherwise. So that's really great. And she was really incredible activist, and she was really active with United Spinal Cord, United Spinal, and very, very active. And her family, she worked a lot with her mother. Her mother was a caregiver through college. Obviously, it's going to be a huge loss to the community. I don't think I've met her in person. If I have, actually I might have. But it would have been very, very briefly, and probably not as. I certainly never interviewed her or talked to her in any length of time, and that's unfortunate. So I'm trying to figure out now. This is very interesting how this thing that can have nothing to do with disability can have everything to do with disability if you think about it the right way. And I hold on for just a second. I'll be right back. I just need to go grab something really quick. Take a 30-second breather, and I'll be back here within less than 30 seconds. Thanks for watching. And we're back, and I thank you, and I appreciate it. I just was having problems, and I need to take care of them. I have, and it's good. So, very interesting idea, and something that has really no direct disability cost, but the more I talk about this, the more the disability will, or the queer cripple disability viewpoint will make itself known. Tracy Chapman is a goddess beyond anything that, and I'm not slamming Taylor Swift. I like Taylor Swift, but Tracy Chapman, having seen Tracy Chapman live 4 times and chased having seen her because I could not been able to see her in 88 or in 91. She played Maine. I just couldn't get tickets in 90 or whatever. She played on Crossroads Tour, and I was really upset. 92, I missed her because I just couldn't get to the venue. And then 96, again, I missed her because it was ridiculous. I think I missed her by a day. I might have been at camp. So in 98, I actually had the most incredible experience. And I was a huge Tracy Chapman fan. I am a huge Tracy Chapman fan. I have all the rare songs that, like, there's a bunch of songs that she recorded that she's played, but she's never released. When she got signed, she probably had 100 songs, and she put a lot on her first album. And her first 2 tours, she would play a lot of songs that were never released. In her first tour, she played songs like All You Have In Your Soul, which, like, is the Crown and Jewel of Crossroads album, which was her second album. Never really saw much of a any sort of airplay, but is by far the best crown and jewel of her entire audio career. Is all that you have is your soul. If you have Spotify or YouTube, just go listen to that. Her voice is just beyond words. But beyond that, Fast Car was written in 87 or 88. It came out in 88. And it was the height of the AIDS crisis. And Tracy Chapman was not out as a lesbian. Or she was, but then she was very out as a folk singer in the women's music sphere of Boston. And she actually had some stuff done on her in the Boston Globe way before she was ever signed. And her signing is kind of bullshit because she was signed by this guy who, like, his father was like a record salesman or something like that. And it's like she would have been signed anyway. And she may have gone to college, and she was a brilliant songwriter well before she ever, knew this guy. She was writing most of that stuff. Songs like Fast Car, she wrote like when she was 17, when she was in boarding school in Connecticut. She lived in Cleveland and went to school in Connecticut for high school, and then went to Tufts for college. There are some recordings of her at Tufts doing a bunch of unreleased songs, and they do show up as existing, but trying to find a copy of them is almost impossible. Although they do exist, and I've heard some songs, I've heard some demos from the 87 songs. I've been lucky enough to see Tracy 4 times, but first of all, I gotta tell you, Tracy was a legend, like Sinead was a legend, or is a legend, like Sinead's a legend. Sinead was a visionary, Tracy is a visionary. I got to see, so I did get to see her in 1998. I graduated from college. The Guinness Beer Festival, Guinness Beer was having an Irish festival, one in, I think it was in San Francisco, and one in New York. In the New York festival, this is when festivals were pretty new, late 90s, so we're not talking big things. But the festival I went to see, the day I went to see was I think I might have missed Suzanne Vega, but Suzanne Vega, Billy Bragg, Wilco, Los Lobos, Patti Smith, Tracy Chapman, the Indigo Girls, and I think there's probably one more band. And the Billy Bragg Wilco show was the first show of the Woody Guthrie Mermaid Avenue tour. And, it was cool because I got VIP tickets, which let us go backstage a little bit. Well, let us go to an area that was near the backstage, and Billy Bragg was near us, just hung out anyway near us. And Nora Guthrie was dancing like 5 feet in front of me. And Patti Smith was the first time I saw Patti Smith was by far the best. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I've seen Patti Smith so many times that it's probably the best time. It's probably the last time I saw her, but because I got to meet her. But Tracy was by far beyond words. Just seeing her live was quintessentially the best graduation gifts I could get. And it was really weird that, if you think about it, the 8 Questions of Oprah in 1996, her new album, New Beginnings, comes out. And it's a completely radical change from the dirge, depressing, political folk beforehand. And then she plays Tongue Stories in 2000 and another one 2002 maybe, or 2004. And then the one in 2008 was torn 2009. She absolutely rocked the Grammys, and I like Luke Combs' version of Fast Car. And it's weird that we live in a new and other, plague right now, and COVID, and, we see Johnny Mitchell getting a Grammy Award, which was, again, really incredible because my friend Ansel Ponte was literally right at the front row of the Newport Folk Festival when Journey came out, and Ansel gave Journey the I Love You symbol, and Journey gave Ansel the I Love You symbol back. And I know what is Ansel's blog. I can't think of Ansel Ponte's blog, but anyway, if you find, I think it's AnselOnTheRecord.com, and she has a great story about her seeing Johnny Mitchell from the front row, and it really is a tearjerker story. So by all means, check it out. It's well worth it. But there's also a really awesome Instagram series of the Silence Equals Death logo that Harvey Kramer did back in '87 that I believe is being redone by, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's Thomas Littman. And I put one of them in my personal reel. I'm sorry, the reel today was a little short or long on the Billy main reel. I try, hopefully you watch. And that has to do with queer identity and the need for COVID and masking, and how masking is really kind of scary that nobody's really masking up now. I mean, I still mask when I go out, and I haven't really ate much at dinners, but I've gone out to dinners and masked now, and it's not a big deal. If anything, it's helped my health, so that's good. But there was some really interesting reports that are really kind of scary about housing, especially when you look at the way in which housing has been just the homelessness in Maine has been really shocking the last year, and ever since COVID basically got done. It's gotten really severe, and there's a housing survey that was covered. It said that there's no place in America that if a person lives on just SSI alone, that they can live and afford a housing, a regular housing, without being on some sort of Section 8 or some sort of subsidized housing. There's literally no place in America without that, and that's scary because such a large part of the American disability population um, relies on the very meager amounts of SSI, and that's well under $1,000 per month. You can't buy a one bedroom for under $1,000. I know it. I've been through this with my roommate who was renting a room and to share a bathroom, and it was disgusting. But he survived, and we got him into a much better place. But it's hard, and it's not simple. It's extremely hard to figure out the timing of all this, the timing of, and it's not easy even with a voucher to find a place to move into. I know that there's people in Portland that were homeless that had vouchers, that were living in the encampments because they couldn't find vouchers, because they couldn't find people to take their vouchers. So the fact that people are living on SSI and you can't find a apartment that you can't find an apartment with SSI and for what SSI gives you. Well, that's been true for probably a while now, but I do remember when I was growing up, and I graduated again in 1998, I actually couldn't afford to live pretty well on my SSI, my SSI income and my rent, which was way cheaper and reasonable for what I made. Granted, I didn't have to do it long because I had a job with waiting for me almost right after graduation. But I mean, I did live in where I lived, and I've never lived in subsidized housing at all, just because of whatever. But I mean, not that I'm against it. Just it has happened. And it just, again, it's a scary thing when people were saying, whatever you want to, but when you can't find competitive housing for any place in America with SSI, there's something wrong with the housing market. One more second, I just need to. I've been talking for about half an hour now, so I need to have a sip. And I'm going to go back to talk about a law in Maine that is technically it's been tabled till probably next year. However, we're gonna go through. There were hearings on this law in late January, and it's still alive. It's just tabled. This is what's known as the integrate. This is what's known as the Maine Silo-Sylvan House Access Act of the 1914. Community throughout Maine face escalating mental health challenges intensified by the recent health pandemic, procedural treatment like daily medication and therapy are effective for everyone. Research from Johns Hopkins and UCLA have shown that psilocybin therapy is a promising treatment for depression and life anxiety and substance use disorder. Sulak, who's one of the first doctors to widely use cannabis treatment, and therefore will always be awesome in my book. And I'm actually one of the first cannabis patients in the state, although it's been kind of bizarre how that all happened. The Sulak is found effective in treating pain, spasticity, and other conditions. I've used psilocybin occasionally on very light amounts, and I've never seen any effects on spasticity or pain, but doesn't mean that she's wrong. And the FDA has designated psilocybin as a breakthrough therapy for depression. There's now proposed legislation, LD 1914, that's aimed at establishing a regulated system for safe access to psilocybin treatment overseen by licensed facilitators and regulated by the State's Department of Health and Human Services. It includes an advisory board to ensure the highest standards of care. Colorado and Oregon are already implementing similar systems. Texas, Connecticut, New Jersey, and Utah are also exploring legislative changes to support psilocybin research and access. This helps with veterans and terminally ill patients. It gives you safe and regulated access. It decriminalizes for personal use. Individuals will be well and consume their own medicine without their legal consequences. Right now, there's things about writing it to newsletter and stuff. They're saying to go to a National Medicine Maine website and get information on that. I think if you just type in Psilocybin Access Act or LD 1914, you'll find out a lot more information. There's been like 69 people who gave testimony so far. It's been, I was, hold on. It was tabled last year to this year. It's been tabled till next year, so it would definitely be there. And it has, again, some really good sponsors. It has David Boyer, Mark Mayon, Daniel Ankles, Stacey Brenner, Eric Breaking, and Austin Therio. And there's 93 testimony items on it so far. So at least 1914 is really important. And in the federal side, there is another law which is really important. And so apparently the Protecting Healthcare for All Patients Act passed the U.S. House of Representatives last week. It basically bars Medicaid and other federal programs from considering quality of life measures that can be used to discriminate against people with disabilities, but the bill feature remains unclear, and it's the metric called quality of life years, or QALYs, and it's absurd. I don't know why they're being used. QALYs can be used against disabled people, and National Organization on Disabilities National Council on Disabilities found evidence in 2019 that QALYs can be used to discriminate against people with disabilities, and recommended the government take steps to maintain their use. Existing law bans Medicare from using QALYs, but this law would expand that to all federal programs, including Medicaid. That would be different because there are sometimes when a person has Medicaid and doesn't qualify for Medicare, but that might be a reason why that would work. And it really is a financial issue. And one person who spoke against this is Kathleen Morris Rogers, a representative from Washington, bill sponsor, who said that QALYs and other similar discriminatory measures assign a dollar value on the life of a patient to decide if certain treatment is cost-effective, oftentimes accompanying individual worsen need for care solely because of their disability or chronic illness. And that's the truth. That's what QALYs do. That's why they have these discriminations already in them. But and majority of disability and health advocacy groups are backing the current bill in the House. National Down Syndrome Society, UCP, Autistic Self-Advocacy, and by giving the benefits afforded through the Medicaid program to the Medicaid program would be a better thing. It would fall also on the recommendations of the NTD. Some people are saying this isn't really, that's not what the true cost list is all about. It's really just about a way they use to Medicaid users to get funding for lower prices on drugs, which is kind of hard to believe. So I don't buy the argument, and I don't think there's much room for proof of that argument either, to be honest. And I have a couple more things I'm going to talk about that are going on, and then we're going to call it day. This is just with some stuff going on, upcoming events, and I just happened to grab Discovery Rights Maine. So this is the GRMA is doing a weekly youth self-advocacy drop-in sessions. They're doing it for youth self-advocacy group, and you need to I'm just reading your information to see what the guidelines are to be on part of it. And it looks like you can text at 207-797-3081 or drme.org/youth-self-advocacy, and that information is also available on their website. And they're going to be doing something from 10 to 11:30 every Wednesday between tomorrow and May 30th, 2024. It's for 14 to 25-year-olds with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Have fun, make friends, and learn skills for speaking up for ourselves. So if you know people in that age group, it says like, this is awesome. You don't need to register. There's a Zoom account. So you would need to have Zoom installed, or a computer or a device that has Zoom. And there's a flyer on the DRMA website that has all the information as well. On the 26th of February, there's a verbal gesture communication Zoom virtual class, which is virtual gesture communications is primarily used between people who are deaf, but it can be used by anybody who has nonverbal communications. So people with CP, severe CPs, people with autism, people with various types of disabilities could use this. Virtual gesture communications, when I did research on it, most of the information that comes up for training is from Gallaudet. Gallaudet's the #1 worldwide deaf cultural center for education in the world, so it seems that it would be a really great option for people to try. This is actually going on as well on March 11th. And if you want to get a hold of Michelle Ames, if you actually Google virtual gesture communication, this really right screen actually has a PDF that comes up, and the PDF has a name of Michelle Ames and a number 207-797-7656, which actually isn't on their listing for their event for this. And also, one last thing is that on the leap year 229, there is I'm sorry, I find that kind of funny, and if you know, you know type thing, and I'm not gonna get into it. It's just one of my friends was disabled on leap year, and I just find it hysterical. But so the State House, his injury was on leap year, so I do again. It's an inside thing between me and this person, and he's not even in Maine, so it has nothing to do with that. Yes, I do apologize. But the State House Disability Awareness Day is on 2/29/24. And I can tell you right now that it's going to be going from 9 a.m. to 2:30. There's going to be Alpha One, the Autism Society of Maine, the Brain and Community Association of America, Maine Chapter, the Center for Community Inclusion, Disability Studies, CCIDS, alumni here, Disability Rights Maine, Justice Action Group, Maine Site, Maine Disability Developmental Disabilities Council, Maine Developmental Disabilities Council, Maine Parent Federation, Maine Statewide Independent Living Council, Naming Maine, Speaking Up for Us, and the Youth Peer Support Statewide Network. It will Secretary of State's office will be showing up and on demonstrating how we be using accessible voting systems. And if there's any questions, you can contact Julia Endicott at jendicott, JENDICOTT at drme.org or 207.626-2774 extension 212. So that's between 9 and 2:30. And I just realized it's been probably about 5 years since I've been to the State House, so who knows, maybe we can get there or something, or maybe not. Anyway, I am going to call this a day. I hope you've had a great time with this, and I'm trying to think if there's anything I need to. Oh, there probably is, but right now I'm just gonna call this a great story time. Hope you had some great learning, and I will hopefully be with you. If not, hopefully sometime next week. Have a great time and stay safe and healthy and wear your mask, and hopefully we don't get any more weather like we missed today. Even in southern Maine, we seem to have missed quite a bit. So, wind, and be well. Have a great day, and thanks for watching. If you're watching this on a broadcast, thanks again.